Hi, welcome to Classy by Mavi. If you are an old subscriber, I say a big thank you for supporting this channel. If you are new here, this is the channel where we learn how to draft, cut, and sew using the simplest methods. If that's what you would like, please subscribe to the channel and receive notifications whenever we upload new tutorials. In today's tutorial, I want to show you how I made this beautiful cowl neckline top. Please watch to the end so you will see all the details, including how I made the sleeve. Okay, without talking too much, let's start work. So here, as you can see, in front of me is a basic bodice pattern. Here is the back neckline, and here is the front neckline. I have cut both back and front together. Here is the front armhole, and here is the back armhole. And here we have the chest line, the bust line, the waistline, and then the hip line. If you know how to draft a basic bodice, you know what we have done. If you don't know how to draft, I'll be dropping the link. And also note that I've added ease of 2 inches. Okay, this is a free dress, so I've added ease to the side measurements, right? Okay, and I've also curved out this down. What I'll do now is to manipulate this pattern to our cowl neckline top. I'm simply cutting out the pattern now. Note that I'll be cutting out the back pattern first. So I'm here cutting out the back neckline. Can you see? So the front neckline and the front armhole are intact. Okay, while I've cut out the back neckline and the back armhole. If you do not know how to draft a basic bodice, don't worry. I'll be dropping the link on how to draft a full-scale basic bodice. Okay, so you can watch and you'll be on the same pace with us. So now I've cut it out completely. So I'll be transferring the back to fabric, okay? And here I've simply transferred the back to fabric. I added 1/2 inch allowance on each side. The center is on fold, okay? There's going to be no zipper, so the center is on fold, and I've added 1/2 inch sewing allowance all around the pattern. Now keeping it aside, it's time now to cut out the front. So here I'm simply cutting out the front neckline, and I'll also cut out the armhole. Okay, I'm here cutting out the front armhole also. Now I'm also done cutting out the front armhole. So we now have our front pattern. It's now time for us to manipulate. So for the manipulation, what you want to do is you get your ruler and your pen. On the bust line from the center front, you insert a line this way to the armhole. Can you see? So I've inserted the line, and I will slash through that line I just inserted, connecting the center front of the bust line to the armhole. Okay, so I'm simply slashing, and now I'm done slashing close to the edge. Can you see? And I will simply spread it out. After spreading it out, I'll place another pattern paper under the area I have spread out, the slashed area. So I have spread it out. I'll spread it out to about 10 inches, okay? This depends on how much you want your cowl to be, the cowl effects, okay? The width at which you spread it out depends on the effect you want to create in the cowl area. So I'll spread it out with about 10 inches, and here I'm connecting the neckline to the center front with a straight line like this, okay? So here we are creating a new neckline. This part I'm connecting, this straight part is the new neckline, right? Okay, so when you are doing yours, tape it down so the pattern will not move. Okay, now I'm simply transferring other parts of the pattern, the shoulder, the armhole. Can you see? So I'm just simply tracing the pattern out exactly the way it is. The change is only in the center front area and on the neckline, okay? So every other part of the pattern remains the same. So I'm tracing the side also. So I'm done tracing it out. It's now time to remove the pattern. Okay, so we are done. So we no longer need this pattern. Can you see our new pattern? So this is our new pattern. We'll now cut out, but before we cut out, note that you should, in your own, ensure to label the neckline, the shoulder, the armhole, so you don't get confused at any point. Okay, so I'm simply cutting mine out. After that, I'll do the labeling. And now I'm done cutting it out, so I'm labeling. Here is the shoulder, here is the armhole, and here is the neckline. Okay, so we have our sloper. The next thing we want to do is to trace out our facing. Okay, we need a facing in the front area, so you simply place the front pattern this way. Now the facing should be around from the shoulder to the armhole area, so it's not long. You just place it on another pattern paper and trace it out. It's like mimicking or replicating the pattern, okay, in a very short form, in a shorter form from shoulder to armhole. So I'm trying to place stuff so that it will stay put. So here I am tracing out the neckline and the shoulder. I've traced out the neckline and the shoulder, and then it's time to trace out the armhole. Now I've also traced out the armhole. The next thing I want to do, I want to mark where the facing will stop. So I've marked it on this end. I'll also mark it on the other end and flip it over. Can you see? So now I know where the facing is stopping. I'll insert a straight line here. Okay, so I've also inserted the straight line, and now I'll cut out the facing. Our patterns are all ready now. Here is our facing, and here we have our front pattern. Okay, this is how it's going to be by the time we transfer to fabric and sew. Can you see? So this is it. Here I've transferred to fabric also. Okay, for the facing and the front I added ½ inch also all around the pattern. Okay, mind you, I've already added ease to this body before, so we just added ½ inch for sewing allowance. So let's take the pattern aside, open it up, and see what we are having. Can you see? This is our front. So by the time we sew, the shoulder will be facing up like this. Can you see that our cowl is already forming beautifully? So let's move over to the machine and start sewing. We'll first of all attach the front facing to the front bodice. Can you see? Can you see how it is? Okay, so that is it. By the time we attach it together, it will form the front of the dress. So let's now move on to the sleeve alteration. Now here we are. For the sleeve, I use a basic sleeve pattern. After inserting 3 inches on both sides, can you see? I added 3 extra inches for ease, and I went straight down to enable me to have that puffy effect by the time I attach my elastic. So let's put it off and proceed to sewing. Okay, here is the facing and the front pattern placed together, right sides facing each other and the wrong sides facing outside. Can you see? That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm facing the right sides together and the wrong sides outside, so I'll be stitching on the wrong sides. Okay, after placing it this way, I'll go ahead and stitch the neckline just up here, straight down. That's the neckline. That's what I'll stitch first. As you can see, I'm also done stitching it. Can you see? So this is what we are having for now. Okay, can you see this? So these are our shoulders. Can you see? It's time for us now to attach the front to the back on the shoulders. But before we do that, we'll also be finishing up the back neckline. Okay, be finishing up the back neckline with a bias binding. I'll cut out a fabric in a bias form to just pipe the back neckline. I'll pipe it before we come back and join the shoulders together. Okay, can you see the back? So I'll just pipe it this way and use it, cutting out my fabric in a bias format. If you have a bias tip, you can also use. For me, I like the feel of the fabric. Can you see? I've done that already. So we are having a beautifully finished back neckline also. Okay, it's very easy to do. If you want a tutorial on this, please drop your comments. Let me know in the comment section on how to use a bias fabric to finish up a neckline nicely, or to hem a neckline, or to pipe a neckline, right? So let's continue sewing. So what we will do now is simply attach the shoulders, front and back shoulders together. Just watch what I'm doing. It's quite easy. Can you see? Okay, what I'm doing is I'm placing the front shoulder in between the the back shoulder. I'm placing the back shoulder in between the facing and the front. Okay, let me take that again. This is our back shoulder. Can you see? From the neckline area. Okay, now here is our front shoulder. Both the facing and the lining, and the facing and the main fabric are together. So I'll open it up now, and then place the back shoulder in between these two. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm placing the back shoulder in between the facing and the front shoulder. Okay, I've done that nicely. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and stitch this. After stitching it, I'll show you what we've got. Sincere apologies, guys. I didn't know it wasn't recording. I'm done joining by the shoulders, and I've also joined the sides. It's super easy. I sincerely apologize that the part was not recording. Okay, so this is what we've gotten. Now it's time to sew our sleeve. Here is the sleeve pattern. This is it. You just hold it together like this, unfold and stitch. Let me put one aside, okay, and talk about one. So this is it. You stitch by the side. You use the allowance you have given. For me, I gave just 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So I will sew, and then I'll add elastic to the wrist. Okay, so later the client changed the style. The elastic was supposed to be at the hem, but the client later changed the style. So I placed the elastic 1.5 inches before the hem after folding and finishing the hem. Okay, so here we are. I folded the hem and I finished the sleeve. All I need to do is just to attach the sleeve to the body. So like I mentioned earlier, the hem was prepared to accommodate the elastic, but we didn't do that anymore. Folding it was still okay. So this is the second sleeve. I've also done the same thing there. Okay, now by the time I attach the elastic, this is the effect it will give, right? So it's now time for me to attach it to the dress. After attaching it to the dress, you see the finished result. Now this is the finished dress. Our cowl neckline top is ready. Can you see how beautiful it is? Look at the sleeve. Everything is just perfect. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. I hope it was explicit enough. Would you like to see how I made this beautiful dress? If you would like to see how I made this dress, how I made this collar, and the entire process, please tell me in the comment section so I will upload the tutorial.